Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me on this brand new episode of the Balance to Vibes podcast. Today we're going to talk about stress and how having too much stress in our lives that is then unmanaged, we're not dealing with it, we don't know how to deal with it, how that can actually really slow down our weight loss and fat loss efforts. Before we get to today's topic, I wanted to invite you to join my brand new live workshop that is called Know Your Numbers. And when you heard the title, the name of it, you probably figured out that I'm going to talk about macros and calories. What that workshop is really your blueprint to understanding how many calories and how much protein you need for your unique body composition goal. Because let me tell you, the generic numbers that you find online or that maybe work for somebody else are likely not going to work for you. And also this live workshop is important because I see so many people really under eating and not understanding how much they really should be eating in order to get results. And if you have listened to the previous two episodes, then you know that under eating can actually also be the reason why you are not getting results. Of course, if you are overeating, you are eating way more than what you are burning, you're also in trouble because you're also not getting results that you want to get. So this live workshop is really designed for everybody who have a body composition goal, whether they want to lose body fat or they want to gain a lot of muscle. Whatever your goal is, you will get the answers in this workshop. And I will teach you exactly how to know how many calories you need. Again, this is not the same thing as MyFitnessPal calorie calculation. This is not the same thing as a random macro calculator online. This is actually a way of calculating your numbers that's scientifically proven, and it takes into account your activity and all the other things that have to be taken into account. And also you will learn how to set your protein, because a lot of the times people are under eating protein, are wondering why we're not getting results. And once they start getting that piece of the puzzle right, so many good things are going to happen. So when is this live workshop? It happens on Wednesday, March 14th at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. So make sure that you sign up for that. The link is in the show notes. It's also in my YouTube description and of course in my Instagram bio. If you have any questions about this workshop before, then let me know. Other than that, just sign up, and I'm really excited to meet you there and give you a lot of clarity, because right now you might be feeling that you are kind of struggling. You're trying to find your way to a place where you know what the place is, but you have no roadmap. And I don't want you to keep guessing and guessing and guessing and spinning your wheels. That's not going to get you anywhere. So join me there again, Wednesday, March 14th, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. If you cannot be there live, which I would really like you to be there live, because that's the only way you can ask your questions. But if you cannot be there live, then I will send you the recording afterwards. All right, so now moving on to today's topic, which is how stress prevents weight loss and 3 ways to beat it. Now, most people, of course, know that too much stress is bad for them. Everybody knows that. You say the word stress, they're like, "Ooh, this is bad, right? Shouldn't be having this. I know this is bad for my health," and all that. But most of those people, while they understand it's a bad thing, don't understand that this can actually be the reason, like having too much stress in their life, unmanaged stress in their life, can be the reason why their bodies are also not responding to their efforts. And they think that, and a lot of the times that I see, what I see is that people are really perfect with their workouts, or they are really perfect with their macros and tracking every gram. And consistency is important. Of course, if you want to get results, you have to exercise regularly, you have to have good understanding of how much food you need, you have to keep your protein high. But sometimes they are already doing all the things right, and the change that they're hoping to see is still not there. And they think that if I only added one more workout, or oh my God, I missed like 2 grams of protein, this must be it. I got to get more accurate with that, and this will solve my issue. Let me tell you that this is not it. If you are already doing really well, everything looks good on paper, but you are not getting results, then we have to look at your lifestyle, and then we have to look at your stress. And like I said, of course, if you are somebody right now who's listening to this and you're not even having a movement schedule, or like movement routine, exercise routine, you're eating whatever random things, you get a lot of takeouts, this can put a different stress on the body, but your problem is more likely overeating, right? And under moving, let's put it this way. Definitely have to work on that part too. But if you're somebody for whom everything looks perfect on paper, but you're not able to lose any body weight and body fat, we have to look at the stress. And the problem is nowadays, I feel like, especially in this like Western society and medicine, that we always want to see the body and mind as two separate things. That's why I said before that people say, yeah, I know stress is bad, but they don't piece together the fact that this is why you're not getting the results. And we think, oh, but this is happening in my mind. Stress happens in my mind. Yeah, the financial issues or the relationship issues that I have, yeah, they're bad, but it cannot be that they impact my body, but they do. And I always say, and I've said it so many times on this podcast too, whatever happens in your mind is reflected in your body. 100%. I've experienced this, still experience this. People even develop all kinds of chronic issues out of that because their thinking is extremely stressful. And I know what that feels like. That's why I'm talking about this. And you may not have like a, terrible like chronic condition or aches or pains or whatever, but you may just be on such high alert that your body's not letting go of anything extra. Some people do realize that they're really stressed, but others don't really understand that they're stressed. And they think that it's kind of like normal to be the way they are. Let me give you a couple of examples of people who are really stressed, but they don't understand that this is the reason why the results are not there. For example, it can be a self-employed person who is fully responsible for their own income, right? Know that really well. And they are just fully booked with clients. They are launching new programs. They are doing all kinds of, social media things. They are all over the social media platforms. They have a ton on their plate, and they're also really sensitive, who take maybe their client success very, very seriously. They just do everything for them. They are hypersensitive, and they don't understand how much burden actually it is on their nervous system. Reminds me of somebody that I just talked to today. One of my clients has a really successful business, and she said, I've been up since 5, up and running, putting out fires, and I don't think I'm going to go to bed until like midnight. And this is the perfect storm, right? Your body never calms down. Your nervous system does not have a minute to take a breather because you're calling to your clients, you are working over different time zones. You're in the States, so you talk to people in Europe and in Asia, and you have to accommodate everybody. This is just so much. You guys have to figure out how to outsource some of the things. You have to figure out how to start reducing your own stress, because this is not sustainable and can very easily be the reason why you are not getting results that you are wanting. Secondly, it can be a lot of family responsibilities. So if you are, for example, a mom or dad who has kids, and you are driving your kids to different practices, and then you are meal prepping and doing homework with them, and maybe preparing some stuff for school, and there's a lot of stress coming that way too. Again, is there a way maybe how you could outsource some things? Especially if you're a perfectionist, you also think your house has to be sparkling clean all the time, cannot have a dirty dish in the sink, all this is bad or wrong, then you are putting yourself under a lot of stress, and eventually will start taking toll on your health too. It can also be relationship stress. It can be romantic relationship. It can be a relationship with your kids, with your parents, with your coworkers, whatever. Relationships can be very big source of stress. It can be, of course, financial stress, which is something that a lot of people absolutely are dealing with. And if you are constantly worried about your finances, of course, I absolutely understand that. This is a big deal, but it's important to become aware that this constant worry can also be the reason why you are really stressed out. And of course, we can talk also about environmental stressors and toxins in there. For example, skincare. What are you putting on your skin? Can that be this big stress for your whole body? What kind of water are you drinking? Are you filtering your water? Are you filtering your air? All these environmental toxins can also put a lot of stress on the body. And finally, I want to mention wrong supplementation. So sometimes when we take supplements, we think that they're good for us. They may not be. They may not work for our body at all. So I know I kind of jumped from all kinds of like mental and emotional stress to now more like physiological and like let's say environmental stressors that of course also impact our physiology. There are a lot of things that can cause stress. And actually, speaking of supplementations, I actually have soon somebody coming on to this podcast talking more about it, and she's going to talk about why some of the very conventional ways of dealing with certain deficiencies by just putting people on different supplements is not always the best idea. What are some of the things that can actually cause excess inflammation? I don't want to go into super big detail here with this topic right now because I'm definitely not a supplement expert, but I know a few things. And for example, something that's very common is putting women on iron supplementation if they seem to be low in iron. However, what I've learned now, and I'm sure that our guest will share a lot more about it, is that actually it's very rare that somebody needs to supplement with iron, and that if we do that, then that can actually cause a lot of inflammation in the body. And this is absolutely not helpful for your weight loss and fat loss either. And then what can be a good, big, not good, but big stressor on the body is your food and fitness. So as I've shared, a bigger portion of my audience tends to be that type of people who are rather more perfectionist about it. They are not the ones who are having hard time getting off the couch and go and do the workouts. They are more the people who are very driven and very kind of hard workers. And they also tend to become a little bit obsessed with some of things. For example, with clean eating, I've seen that I have to eat everything clean. I cannot have ice cream. I cannot have chocolate. I'm extremely perfect with everything. This is also stress in the body if you put so much pressure on yourself. And of course, I'm not advocating for eating crap food and junk food and not taking care of your health this way, but also you don't have to be this extreme clean eater in order to have good health. Absolutely not. Also, yo-yo dieters are more prone to stress, because think what happens in your body if you constantly take a lot of food away from your body, starve it, and then can't do it anymore, and then you binge, which is what I just talked about recently in my binge eating episode, right? If you listen to that, then you know what I'm talking about. If you didn't, just go back. It's the previous episode. And also training. You can just over exercise, which absolutely 100 billion% puts too much stress on your body. Again, I have experienced this myself. I know exactly what that feels like. I know also what this perfectionist mindset feels like, to have that, to think that I have to do this no matter what. I have to get my 4 workouts done or 6 workouts done, whatever you have committed to, without admitting to yourself that this is too much. And a lot of the times it's true. It's absolutely the case that you know deep inside that this is too much. You are tired, but you're still going and doing it. You are exhausted, but you still think that if I don't do this, I am willpower-less person, and that's why I'm not getting results. Versus sometimes just doing less is better for you. And I've said this also in other episodes too, that most people don't even need to do more than 3 workouts a week. Just go lift weights, have a good programming, and you don't have to exhaust yourself with tons of workouts and tons of HIIT and cardio. Now, let's talk about how stress then impacts the body, and getting a little bit into physiology, but nothing super crazy, nothing that would be too difficult to understand. First of all, we cannot not mention high cortisol and also insulin issues that can result from too much stress. So what happens as a result of experiencing stress is that our adrenals are releasing cortisol, which is known as the stress hormone. And the purpose of it is great. It's to send our body all the resources that the body needs in order to cope with this stress. And that also means higher blood sugar, right? You're going to have higher blood sugar, and that's so that you can get yourself into action. Let's say that you have to escape, you have to run away, then your muscles have to be ready, right? You got to be ready to go. And like I said, it doesn't even matter if it's physiological if it's like actual stress or perceived stress. Your brain can really well come up with that stressful situation, even though there's nothing in your environment right now. You can actually try this. You can look around, nothing that is threatening you right now, right? So there's no physical danger, but you can get yourself into the very stressed out state if you just think about something really stressful and you notice how your heart starts beating faster, you're getting nervous, and your blood sugar also rises. Now, when there's constantly high elevated cortisol, then you have also constantly elevated high blood sugar levels. And if this blood sugar level doesn't get into your cells, then it's just floating around your body, and you're going to end up with high blood sugar and also excess insulin. And that's going to then show a lot of times as excess belly fat. That's just how it is. You can tell that a lot of the really stressed out people, they do have a little bit more belly fat, and this is where it likes to be stored. That's just how it is. Now the next way how stress is kind of manifests in the body, or what's causing it, is inflammation. So stress does cause inflammation in the body. I don't think this is news to anybody. And if the stress continues and if the inflammation continues, then over a period of time, there are inflammatory compounds in the body that can also mess with your insulin sensitivity, and your cells basically don't open up to that blood glucose, and now you just have too much of it in your body floating around. So if you don't know much about insulin, so basically what it does, it's almost like a key that opens your cells up so that the blood sugar glucose can be transported into your cells. But if the cells don't recognize the key, it's almost like feels like it's the wrong key, then the blood glucose is not going to get into the cells, and then you're going to end up with excess blood sugar and also excess insulin, because your body is just releasing more because it didn't do the job the first time around. Now let's just send this person a new insulin response. So now you have high insulin, and now you have a high blood glucose. And of course, that's again the same thing like I just mentioned, that can then end up or manifest as higher fat, especially in the midsection area. And of course, you probably know that excess belly fat is linked to many serious health issues, such as heart disease and type 2 diabetes and Alzheimer's and all that. And nobody wants that. So it's really important that we take care of our stress levels, that we take care of our blood sugar, and that we stay healthy in these ways. And I'm, of course, going to share with you how you can keep your stress levels more in check too. And of course, there's also kind of the opposite side of it. So like I said, I'm mostly talking to those people, or about those people who tend to be perfectionist and overtrain and undereat and have this like very, very high stress lifestyle. But also sometimes the way we experience stress is that we just get more loose with our eating habits, and we are not so motivated to meal prep, or it's so much easier to go get a takeout or get food or food ordered home, and we don't want to do the workouts if we're stressed out. So that can also happen. So this is kind of like the opposite type of person who has hard time with sticking with their workouts and sticking with their food tracking and sticking with healthy habits in general. And this is kind of like the stress response is more like a behavioral response. It's like, whatever, I don't care. I just fell off the wagon, and I'm not going to go to the gym today and tomorrow and the next month, and then I have to get back to it, which is really difficult to do. So stress kind of manifests in different people in different ways. However, everybody has to deal with it, and everybody has to make a real big effort to get better, because I think I've made it really clear by now that it can really slow down your results that you want to get. You want to see a certain body composition change, then you just have to deal with it. And I'm going to share with you 3 ways you can deal with stress. The first one is more like physiological, and then I'm going to also give you some mental, emotional kind of tips and tricks that I believe in that work, because like I have said many times, I do believe that. I don't only believe, but I just know that there's a huge connection between your mind and your body. So we have to address both sides of the same coin, not just the physical, not just the workouts and food. However, I'm going to start with food and exercise. And what I want to say is that you can, as I've already pointed out, you can really stress yourself out with undereating and overtraining. Talked about this a lot. Undereating is a major stressor on the body. This is one of the reasons actually why I see when I start increasing calories with some of my clients who have been undereating, they start losing weight. It's not uncommon at all. I haven't done the math. I don't know what the percentage is, but that's a lot of people that I work with. We start increasing the calories, and the body just gets like hormonally to a lot better place, because now the huge stressor is removed, and the body can like let out a little sigh, like, okay, we've been fed here. Good. We can start letting go a little bit more of that body fat. So it happens quite often. You have to stop under eating. And this is one of the reasons why I am doing the live workshop as well that I mentioned. Make sure to sign up for that too. You have to make sure that you are eating enough for your goals. People tend to stay in a calorie deficit for a very long time, which is a huge stressor on the body. You have to realize that. And you probably also start getting signs like, hair loss, low mood, low libido, period issues, all that, if your calories have been too low. And these are all manifestations of your stress being way too high. Also overtraining, again, same thing. I see it a lot. People just do too much, especially tends to be too much high intensity training, tends to be too much cardio, and not understanding that they can get amazing results from just 3 workouts a week, lifting, resting between the sets, not bouncing around, not doing burpees between the sets. Now, if I get somebody who's telling me, but cardio and HIIT, this is my stress reduction, and you're already burnt out, you are kind of like what's known as the adrenaline junkie. You only feel good if you have tons of adrenaline floating around your body. This is the only time you feel energized and happy. This is a problem, and you should not be using HIIT training and cardio training to lift your mood. You have to find better things, because it doesn't matter what you think that, oh, this is my stress reduction. Your adrenals respond the same way. You get the same cortisol response, whether you think that it's stressful for you or not. You still get that result. So be careful with that. This is, in my opinion, a lot of times it's just an excuse to keep doing what you're doing and keep closing your eyes to the fact that you are just overdoing it and you are stressing your body out way too much. Okay. Now, the second way how we can start reducing stress, and remind you again, the first one was start eating appropriately and also stop overtraining. Now, the second thing is that you have to have self-care practice in place. You just have to. This is not something you can overlook. It doesn't work anymore. Like, you can try as long as you want, like, I don't know, go on and on and on and on. Ignore that. Eventually you will have to start doing something. There are, of course, many options. There are meditation, there's reading, writing, journaling, just laying down and freaking resting, no matter how hard it is for your mind to do. You have to do this. Relaxing, laughing. And also, it's important that you make it impactful, make it count, because this is not only about checking the box and saying, oh, I sat down for 2 minutes and did my meditation. Okay, moving on. It's just like really rushed. This is not what I mean by that. This is not effective. You have to feel that it actually did something for you. You have to feel that. Otherwise, you're just checking the box. It's almost like, I don't know, like cheating in a test. Like you didn't get anything out of it, right? You have to get something out of it. And I gotta say, like, for me personally, and this might sound like, like a huge privilege, and maybe it is, but for me, I take the first hour of my day for this. I wake up, it can be a different time. Sometimes it's 6 o'clock, sometimes it's 7, depending on my schedule. But I usually take for about an hour to tune myself to the right place. And that happens through different things. So I don't always do the same things, but I often meditate. Right now I'm totally in a big writing kick. I'm writing a lot of like positive thoughts in the morning, just things that make me feel ready for the day, so that I can start the day in good mindset, feeling positive, feeling like energized and ready to do the things that I need to do that day. Some weeks it may look like a little bit of stretching. Some weeks it may look like, something else. Maybe it's a guided meditation, whatever it is. But for me right now, it's silent meditation, about 15 minutes. And then I do a lot of writing. I just like to sit down with my drink in the morning. I'm drinking this herbal cocktail that I like to have. I'm just sitting with it and enjoying that first hour. That's only for myself. And of course, like I said, it may sound like it's a huge privilege, and I guess it is. I don't have kids. I don't have other people that I have to really take huge care of. So I can have that time for myself. If you don't have that time, and I understand that, I do work with people who have 5 kids and even 7 kids. And I understand. So please don't take it this way that I don't understand you. But I think that there's something that everybody can do, even if it means like going to bed a little bit earlier, waking up a little bit earlier to have that 15 minutes for yourself in the morning, because this really sets the day, sets the tone for your day. However, I don't think that just 1 minute is effective. Sometimes people say, well, let's just start with 1 minute. And honestly, I don't think this works, because this 1 minute is like where you don't probably even get into that zone where you want to be if you're doing 1 minute meditation. I don't know. You have to try this out. Maybe you are a very experienced meditator and you can get there just like that. I know that even though after, I've meditated for years and have pretty solid practice, I don't get to that calm present state in just 1 minute. Sometimes it can take 10 minutes and some days it doesn't happen at all. The brain is still racing in all kinds of ways. And I'm of course doing my best to get to that meditative state, but it doesn't always happen. But this is some time that I take for myself every single day. And as a person who tends to get stressed out, and of course, I'm telling you, like all these things that I'm sharing with you, the insulin resistance and high blood glucose, I have either dealt with it or some of the things I'm dealing with. And I've found that these practices that I'm sharing with you today are really helpful. Listening to your body and not training when you're not feeling that great, stop under eating, and also taking care of my health with self-care practices. Also wanted to bring up under this point the gratitude practice, which I think is really amazing. And you may heard this like thrown around everywhere. Yeah, gratitude. Write down three things every day that you're grateful for. I think, yeah, that's a cool way to do it. If it helps you, great, do it. I personally didn't find like much benefit from that. And I started understanding gratitude a lot better after listening to Andrew Huberman's podcast on gratitude. And it was great. I think I mentioned this in another episode, but I'm not entirely sure. So I'm going to say again, basically, how he describes it. Of course, we know that when we get into the state of deep gratitude, then it changes our chemistry in the brain. And you just, you're feeling better, you're feeling more relaxed, you're feeling happier. And that also will absolutely help you de-stress. And the way that he explains is that of course it's great if you are the receiver of gratitude, right? If somebody says thanks to you, if somebody's grateful to you, and you can kind of think back to this moment and relive this, and this is awesome. However, it can also be a situation that you maybe heard about or saw in a movie or whatever it is that you can think back to and feel the gratitude. So it has to be impactful topic for you. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you actually a couple of examples. So the way I use someone else's experience or a podcast that I heard is that I heard this podcast one time where this person called in and said that I am so grateful for you, the hosts, that you have helped me to get out of this like deep eating disorder hole and feeling so much better. I'm valuing health and valuing fitness, and I'm valuing my own strength. And also I've been passing this on to my daughter, who now is feeling empowered and wants to be strong as her mommy. So even right now, when I'm telling you this story, I get like chills because this thing was really impactful for me. And when I heard this person expressing deep gratitude towards these people that helped her, the hosts of this podcast, it really makes me feel happy. And I almost like feel like I'm part of this somehow, even though I'm not for this person specifically, but this is a topic that matters to me. That's why I feel that gratitude. So you have to find something like this for yourself as well. Some topic that you feel really deeply connected to, even if you are not directly part of it, but it touched you, right? It was really meaningful for you. And the other experience, so actually this was, when was that? It was a couple of months ago. I had a really great experience with some natural medicine, if you know what I'm talking about. It was great. It was wonderful. I had the best time. I had huge emotional relief and release. And I felt like on top of the world as a result of using this natural medicine. And I'm thinking back to this, and the feelings that come up are just amazing. Again, I'm getting chills. I'm almost like tearing up because the emotion that I got from there was hugely powerful. It was so powerful. And now what we can do with these experiences is that when we are in the feelings of like lack or misery or sadness or depression or just stress in general, what we can now do is that we can take ourselves back to that moment. We can take ourselves back to that podcast where you heard that amazing story that made you feel like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful. I can take myself back to that. I can also take myself back to that medicine ceremony where I felt like on top of the world. And instantly I feel happy. I feel happy. It's not possible to feel angry and happy at the same time. You got to choose one. And on these moments, you are in this happy mode. And this is how you can also let go of a lot of the stress when you can get yourself into this gratitude state more often. you're doing well. You're doing well. And the third way how you can reduce your stress is actually kind of similar, overlapping a little bit with the last one. So I've been listening to I've been very much excited about Abraham Hicks lately, and listening to a lot of their kind of videos on YouTube, watching the videos on YouTube. And they always say that in order to get the things that you want, whether it is money or partner or job or car, but also your ideal body, you first have to feel happy. So really cultivate the feelings of like happiness and excitement and joy and ease and love in yourself, which actually goes in the same kind of category with gratitude. So in science, people say, show it to me, and then I believe it. But now in this more spiritual world, it goes the other way. I believe it and then I see it. So you have to believe that I'm already happy, I'm doing well. And literally, like when you were saying these things to yourself and get yourself into the feeling of these positive feelings, this just melts your stress away. It literally melts the stress away. And the more you can do it, the more you are allowing the good things to come in, and the more the things that you want to get, whether it's money, the car, the body, whatever, they're more likely to come into your actual 3D experience. So believe it or not, this is how it goes. And so your main goal is to start feeling good about yourself. So find more things that make you happy, because this reduces stress. You can even think about it in your head right now. Okay, let me get into this mode where things are shit, like they're just awful. This client had this problem. I'm a rad coach. This person wants this from me. This costs too much. I don't have the money. Blah, 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 blah. Notice how it makes you feel. Good? No? Stressed? Oh, hell yeah. And now we can go to the other way of doing it. We can be like, okay, things are going well. What went really well for me today? I had a really great conversation with this person. I listened to this amazing podcast. Oh, this song sounds really good. I want to listen to this song. What if I call this friend? What if I watch some amazing cat videos that make me laugh hard because there's just so much fun? Okay. So now notice, where are you now? Where's your kind of emotional being right now? How are you feeling? Does it feel less stressed? Of course. It doesn't feel stressed at all. So now the more you can do that, the more you can get yourself to this state, the better off you are. And I know it can seem like, oh, this is like super, super far-fetched. Like you're telling me that I have to like make myself feel good and listen to my favorite song, and now I'm going to lose body fat. It may not be this direct kind of cause and result thing, or cause and effect thing, but it's a little bricks, right? You build a new foundation, you build a new building. And when you do more of the things that help you, make you feel good, you are reducing your stress. It's less and less and less, and you are feeling happier and happier, happier. And of course, we also know what happens in our brains, right? The serotonin, the feel good hormones, they do matter. And the more of those like feel good sensations you can have, the more successful you are. All right, so start feeling good about yourself. Stop overtraining, stop undereating, stop feeling good about yourself. Have a mindfulness practice. Chill more, rest more, give yourself the permission to just be. You don't have to be like hustling set like 24/7 all the time. And you don't have to overthink and worry about everybody's opinions. Have you ever tried to change everybody's opinions and get everybody on the same page? So just so that they don't, I don't know, so that you don't feel like they don't like you. It's not possible. So try to relax more. It happens in your body and in your mind, because remember, they are sort of the same thing. All right, I think that's all for you. Just one more time, I want to remind you that Know Your Numbers workshop starts on Wednesday, the 14th of March. Like I said, undereating is a major cause of stress. So join me in my live webinar where you're going to learn exactly how much you should be eating for your goal. And even if you know that you are overeating right now, still join, because everybody's going to get unique numbers that they have to follow. Everybody, no matter how you're eating right now, undereating, overeating, don't know how you're eating, have never tracked anything, this workshop is going to be super beneficial and helpful for you. And you can start implementing it right the next day after we have our webinar. You can get right to work and see how the results are coming. Of course, don't forget to also reduce your stress in this process. All right, so that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.